Oh, welcome to the show. It is Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and this is Make a Right. Is this Make a Right Left Hand? No, this is the right mindset. All right. So, as always, on Sundays, we do what we call writing a book. We are writing a book in real time. It's allowing me to show you on screen the process as I outline. I handle the extended outline, the zero drafts, the first drafts, every element, all while allowing you, the audience, to ask questions during the process. Those questions don't even have to be about the process. If there is something like a question you have about your writing or whatever the case may be, I'm here to help and guide. What is up, flowers? Welcome. Oh, hey, Cindy. Hello. Hey, Canada. I love Canada. I toured there when I was younger in a band playing the guitars. Anyway, long time ago, before we had fancy phones. All right, so we're gonna wait a minute or two, let some more people jump into the broadcast, the stream. While I do that, again, we've been working on a sci-fi. For anyone who's watching, or this is your first time watching, we are working on a sci-fi story. Oh, hey, hello, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for joining again. Thanks for everyone coming again. This is really nice. I appreciate the consistency and that we get to kind of build this story and watch the whole thing unfold. But as I was saying, to anyone who's new here, or if you're jumping in and you're like, what's going on? I am working on a sci-fi novel in real time where I ultimately get to, as they say, go through each and every process on the screen and talk through the process, so you, as a writer, can learn what's going on. You could ask questions for clarification, and maybe, just maybe, it might make you look at it a little differently. Or remember, there's no one way to do this. It's every way is valid, as long as it gets you to write the book and gets the book out. But we've already done the brainstorming. We've done character arcs. We did the short form outlining, which I practice that all often, by the way. Even if I'm not working on a story, like, I just do it. Like, I'll come up with an idea and I'll do short form outlining, where I just place very broad ideas into the 27 plot point. I just like doing that as an exercise. It keeps me on my toes. It allows me to kind of analyze those plot points, each of the 27, in a way that gives me a little bit more insight while I'm working, as they say. All good. Baby's sleeping. All right, I'll keep it down. I don't want to wake up the baby. I don't want to but today we're going to continue on with the extended outline / zero draft. Why is step 4 2 steps and not separate steps? It's because the extended outline is basically organizing the chapters into the beats, the story beats, and then zero draft takes those story beats and outlines each chapter individually. But right now we are only on the extended outline part of it. So, all right, let's get into it. We got some people here. All right. Ooh, what do we got here? Not for long. They seem to always know when mom is busy, and then they want. Yeah, why is that? Why did I do that? All right, here it goes. Boop. Okay, these are the outline. Oh, here we go. All right, so we did chapter 1, we did chapter 2, where she gets in the docks, and then chapter 3. Oh, that's where they're in space. The final frontier. And then we did 4. I'm with the earplugs. Very smart. Very smart. That's the only way, really, you can get away with staying quiet, right? The earplugs. All right. Work on this beat, and then. Oh, okay. All right. So that's where we ended. All right. Let me just check something here. We're going to 4. Oh, I did all 4. All right. This was a note I added afterwards. Go for the kiss songs. listen again. Every single time. Uh um what is but she's a Capricorn and I'm a Cancer. Uh what is the Kiss song where it's Come On and Love Me, where it goes, what is it? It's she's a dancer, a romancer. I'm a Capricorn and she's a Cancer. She saw my picture in a music magazine when she met me. Said she something like that. I love Kiss. I grew up on Kiss. You can't go wrong with Kiss. All right, where are we? Oh. Yeah, that's right. All right. Bill and Ted it. Excellent. Execute them. Bogus. All right. Laura Olivia checks the computer to establish the next potential landing. So I have to work on this. This was my note. They will make a choice on the planet to land on. It is not the planet that the gang would have liked. Okay. All right. Locations are limited. And outside the areas where the gang needs to go, but the ship needs to land soon. The gang tells her to land in on planet X. Name this planet. Now, again, remember, when we're working on the extended outline, we don't really have to worry about specifics. We could get to that later. So I'm always leaving myself notes, just in the sense that, like, I'll get to that later, because I just want to keep going. You know, I don't want to stifle my mind, because first of all, I'll get sidetracked and I'll just sit there for hours just playing with names and stuff like that. And there's just no need for it. In fact, I might even get to the end of the book before I name the planet, unless, of course, like the love interest, I definitely feel like I have to name him soon, because I just keep calling him love interest. But there are certain points where, like, if it's not, you know, if I don't need the seated, or if it's not really like narratively important, if it's just a descriptor, I don't really try to put a lot of thought into it during the first couple stages. More towards the end, definitely in the first, second, and third draft, there will be names. When I was working on my epic fantasy, my epic fantasy saga, there was 4 characters that didn't have names for the whole outlining process of the book, the first book, and some of the longer form plot points. And they were just called character 1, character 2, character 3, character 4. So, you know, dialogue would be like, you know, they would be like, oh, I need to blank, blank, blank. Character 1 says, like, and I was just, after a while, I was just like, I need to name these characters. I have to at this point, you know. Is this where dual POV is? It's easier to do one POV through all the points, then go back and do the second, or do both at the same time? Honestly, I would do a variation of that. So the first thing I would do is the character arc summaries. Try to figure out what the character arc summary is. And for example, let's say I wanted to be a successful musician, but I live at home with my parents. So the character arc summary might be like, Thomas lives at home with his parents with the dream of one day becoming a famous musician or a successful musician. And over the course of getting involved in the industry, he meets up with a band that ends up getting a record contract, and he goes through the touring and learns the horror of the music industry, and therefore eventually comes back home and decides that music should be more intimate and for him and not necessarily for the big picture. Now I have to take that summary and I have to break it up into the plot points, and I'll do that. When it comes to the subplots or the second POV, I'll do the same thing. I'll create their character arc, and then I'll put them through their own 27 plot points. And then I look at both of them and I go, where can I mix them? When I did it on this, I did everything sort of kind of together, only to make it easier visually. But at the end of the day, my sheet is really, it's just a collection of everybody. And if you look at this, you see this, how I have it, say chapter 4, if I had characters, it would look like this. It would go like Laura, Olivia, right? And then let's say in the same chapter, right? We have the love interests. It would do this love interest, right? And they would get their plot point. And if their plot point is on plot point 6, it would look like that. I would have that. And this just lets me see the beats playing out throughout the outline. So that's how I would do it if I were you. I hope that helped. What do we got here? Will there be a sort of bloop bloop? This one asking for a friend. I'll get my code. Listen, the sort of bloop bloop's too dangerous to go after. We can't really go after it. I'm just saying, we don't want to. I know what video you watched. All right. Laura Olivia checks the computer to establish the next potential landing locations. Locations are limited and outside the areas where the gang needs to go, but the ship needs to land soon. The gang tells her to land on planet. All right, a couple other things. Why I am going to leave this sort of generalized. Remember, it's always about general statements, and then we build on those general statements. But later, as I develop the next chapters, I might be able to go back and add a little bit more context to this. You know, maybe there's something while I'm working on chapter 5 or chapter 6 where I decide that, oh, this quote unquote note would be interesting to see in chapter 4 when they're looking at locations ago and they start talking about. In fact, I might even notate that. Note the later planet they end up crashing on that is dangerous, right? So there we go. That just came up in my head. I know that's coming up anyway. For anyone who wants to know where that is, I think that's in Act 3. They crash land on a planet and ends up being a hostile environment. Plot point 21. So I remembered that. So I know that I'm going to have to make note of that planet. And they're going to be like, yeah, avoid that one. I could also, if I wanted to, and I should, note the planet they end up going to note the planet they have to go to for the ship later after Laura gets out of prison. Because remember, it gets okay. Prison. Because remember, she ends up getting out, and the ship was impounded and sent to a different planet. A different planet. Right. Okay. And just remember, you got something about you. You've got something I need. Daughter of Aphrodite. Hear my words and take heed. I was born on Olympus. Okay, sorry. Because I'm the god of thunder. Rock and roll. All right, let's go to chapter 5. So let's get the notes so we have them. The protagonist decides to take action. All right. So, by the way, just for the record, because sometimes this becomes a little confusing for people, one of the biggest questions I get actually is ultimately, what does this plot point really mean? And I know it says protagonist decides to take action, but it really is the protagonist is taking action, right? So in plot point 4, if we look at plot point 4, this is the protagonist reacts and reflects on the long-term impacts of the inciting incident. So basically, the inciting incident happens, and now they're like, "Holy crap! What is this going to do? This is, what am I going to do with this? How does it affect me, etc., etc." And then plot point 5 is that they take action to sort of maybe rectify what's going on in the situation. Okay. In this case, the inciting incident is she got hijacked and the ship got shot and damaged. So the gang needs to land in a specific place, but they're too far away and can't make it. And the ship needs to land because it's they have to do whatever they have to do to fix it completely and not with the limited repairs that they did. Right. So they decide to take action, which is they're going to the planet, right? And as you can see, they are heading to the planet of choice and decide to dock. She crashes her ship, needs to find parts, and ultimately has to work on the cost because the hijackers took all her money. Potentially called skulls. All right. Shoals. During the escape and dealing with being shot at authorities, the ship is damaged. We already know that. So get rid of that. The gang leader leaves her here. The love interest doesn't leave her with money, and we should help her. No. Okay. So let me Chapter 5, plot point 5. And by the way, remember, I'm trying to do a plot point per chapter, but I'm telling you right now, just from my experience of doing this, I think we've talked about this before. Like, this chapter probably can be one chapter, but sometimes these longer chapters with extra scenes and stuff like that, I have to break up into multiple chapters, and that's okay. But my goal as an exercise is to try to make every chapter a plot point. However, please don't let that infer that you have to do that. I am choosing to do that as an exercise. But I could have 2 chapters for this. I could have 4 chapters for 6. I could have, whatever. But you do have to say to yourself, what is the advantage of that? Well, let's say I have one POV, all right? And I have 12 chapters for plot point 1. I might have stayed in plot point 1 a little too long, just knowing that it's 10 chapters long, right? Because depending on how long your book is, obviously if it's 300,000 words, like if it's going to be maybe 10 chapters might be, the 10th chapter would be where the inciting incident should start. But again, you could have 2 or 3 chapters for the inciting incident. That's okay too. Like a beginning, middle, and end kind of thing. But when you're looking at your plot points, if you have more than 6 chapters in that plot point that are just solely focused on one POV, that's a good indicator that maybe you should combine some stuff and shrink some stuff and cut some stuff down even before you get into it, because that is a lot. That's a lot of chapters for a plot. 6 is like the cusp, 7 is okay if your book is a little longer, and so is 8 if your book is a little longer. But if you're looking at a traditional book, like an 80 to 90,000 words, like chapter 6, really, like that should be the end of for plot point 1. And then plot point 2, the inciting incident, should be chapter 7, could be 7, 8, and 9 at the same time. If you have more than one POV, that kind of expands your chapter capabilities. But again, you do want to make sure the pacing of the book is good, and you want to be, if you're in epic fantasy or sci-fi, your inciting incident should come anywhere between 10 and 15% of the total book length. So that's something you might have to think about as you start writing the first draft and the second draft and the third draft, because you'll start getting count stuff, which leads to this, where I keep track of my numbers. And that's another reason I'm always keeping track of my numbers, is because I want to be aware of what's going on, Anyway, but we'll get into that as we go. All right, let's see. They head to the planet of choice. All right. Laura Olivia pulls into the planet atmosphere. I should say outer atmosphere. Calling in for an emergency landing. All right. The planet asks for her number and information. There is no planned landing for that ship number. Laura, Olivia tells them that the ship is damaged. All right. Okay. Moving along. Okay. Damage. All right. Boop, boop. Oh, wait. All right. Whoop. Oh. Print. I don't want to print. All right. Let's see. Okay. Look at that. Print. I hit P by accident. Control P. All right. They tell her to land on port 7. Actually, 1 second. I'm trying to look for something. There was like a number thing that I wanted. I wanted a specific number for something. I might not remember it. All right, it doesn't matter. I don't need it right now. All right. Okay. They tell Laura, because remember, you wanna remember the name. Laura to land on port 7. All right. Here goes. Now, in my head, I would make this a new scene. And the reason is because this is my setup scene. As you know, I try to do setup, conflict, resolution. Every scene, every chapter, every act, every narrative basically needs a beginning, a middle, and end, right? So this sets it up. I'd also probably say gas is low and has leaked from the travel and damage. All right. Actually, damage. All right. By the way, any questions on what I'm doing, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer what's going on. All right. Okay, so we got that. She crashes a ship, needs to find parts. All right. Laura Olivia flies the ship down. The gang is being annoying as the ship begins to have trouble. They all feel like they're going to die, and the leader of the gang tells Laura that he's going to kill her if they don't survive. And that's my kind of humor. It's like saying, I'm going to kill you until you die from it. All right. Death by Woo Woo. All right. All right. Laura sees port 7 in the distance, but doesn't feel like she's going to make it. The ship flies in, getting rougher and more dangerous. Bells and whistles are going off. The computer is yelling at her, telling her they're not going to make it and to land somewhere else. All right. What we got here? Anonymous Goose. Somebody's on the page with me. That's good. That's why I have it available. You're allowed to look at it all you want in real time. Ba-bang, ba-boom, ba-ba. All right. He just can't edit it. That's all. All right. The computer is yelling at her. Blah blah blah. Laura Olivia gets closer and closer. The gang is screaming and yelling as the ship is trying to turn itself due to the pressure of speed from falling and flying. Okay. The ship runs out of fuel. Okay, here we go. See, I'm trying to build tension and excitement, like those just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. All right. Okay. Wait. This should be like that. Boop. All right, here it goes. The computer tells Laura she needs to deploy crash landing protocols. The gang leader is screaming, crash landing. All right. See? Now, the reason I did that, this might obviously not be the words I use. Keep that in mind. But sometimes I like putting dialogue there for a few reasons. But one, this is me showing me, the writer, character agency. So I know that Laura is going to stand up for herself, and she's going to stand up to the gang leader, and she's going to not that she, she's Mary Sue. She's like, you can't. It's more like any character has to find some sort of agency, and they have to create a position. Her position is, look, they're probably going to die. They're going to crash land, and she doesn't need to listen to this. And she's not taking responsibility for the ship in this situation. It's your people's fault. This is the only reason I'm even here, right? So it's good to see things like this in your extended outline, because it gives you motivation in how you might approach the dialogue and even her character's choices in the end. But let me all right. So finally, the ship is almost to port 7, but crashes about 100 yards away. Sliding to a stop. The screaming follows the slide and stops when the slide stops. Visually, that's kind of funny to me. It's, yeah. You gotta have fun when you're doing this kind of stuff, right? All right, let's see. By the way, I put a poll in the comment section if anyone wants to play along. What do you have the easiest time writing? Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, or outlining? I'd love to see what the audience. So far, it's 3 Act 1ers. Yeah, I agree with that so far. First act is really, because it's the part where it's like, oh, this is the story I thought of, and I get to play with all the good stuff, and I get all the world building and all these other things. Oh, Act 1 and Act 3. Yeah. It's not uncommon for Act 2 to be the hardest part to write, because there is the saggy middle syndrome, which can affect people. But as we work on this, you'll see how I approach the second act, and how the 27 plot points, or at least the 9 plot points in Act 2, give you direction on how to maintain momentum, raising the stakes, all these things. It just naturally does that, and you'll see how I use Act 2 to kind of influence that. So hopefully that, but we're not there yet. We're still on plot point 5. All right, so the ship crashes. Now we are on the third scene, which is the resolution to the scene. And that's where, okay, we're going to have to find parts. Let me just put that here real quick. And Laura is going to need to find parts. All right. I just want that there because I wanted to get rid of that thing. Now, this is where the gang's going to leave her. They're going to threaten her. I have to go with them because I'm going to need this down there so I could see it. All right. Here it goes. Here it goes. Here it goes. All right. The gang leader stands up and goes to shoot Laura Olivia. But the love interest jumps up at the same time and pushes the leader to the side as the gun goes off and misses Laura. I need to put a note here. It is sci-fi, so do I want... Wait a minute. Do I want guns or do I want future weapons? If so, what would they be? Think about this. All right. So why did I do that? Well, I could use guns for all the outlining and all the fun stuff, and I don't really have to put a lot of thought into it. But as I do go through it, I think I should put some time into that because it is sci-fi, which is a variation of magic, right? Technology and science fiction is the magic system that, you know, in fantasy, you get magic, you get faith, you get like all these really cool other elements, potions, right? But in science fiction, you can have magic, but technology is the magic, you know? So whenever there's an opportunity to add technology and, you know, that helps with world building. What's the good news is right now I'm focused on plot, but as I do develop the technology and I create like those elements, then I could go back and seed and I could start adding little things that might just help increase. But for the record, I don't need to put all that in here right now. I don't need to bog down the extended outline with like, you know, the computer system is a blank, blank, blank 1070 430 from the planet of Boo, right? I don't have to do that. But, you know, as I'm writing the long form narrative and I'm working on building and expanding each of the chapters, that's information I will probably, if not most likely, put into notation. Okay. The love interest and gang leader have a fight of words. Why don't I just write argument? Have an argument about killing Laura. Laura says killing her would be a waste. All right. Make this a funny exchange. Laura's going to have a personality, if you know what I mean, all right? Because then I'm going to be bored writing her if I don't. I love having personality in my characters. I don't know about you. All right. What we got? All right. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Gang leader. Leader is frustrated, but agrees, telling his people to take their credits. Whatever isn't tied down. Laura complains, and her life is threatened again with the love interest tells her it's not worth it. Laura says it is worth it because that's all my worth I have. How am I going to afford my broken brand new ship? Ready to get me home. The gang leader says that it's her problem. All right. Okay. They don't care. They tell her his name. All right. Just to leave her with some credits. Anything. They don't care and tell him he can stay and forfeit his share of the money and help this nobody get a ship back up and running. All right. Beep, beep. Basically, you take the plot points of every section and extended it to make it look like a longer outline, right? Not just to make it look longer, but to add, to take an idea, the broad idea of, as you can see, the gang leaves her there helpless. So what does that look like? So I created beats, the story beats of what it would look like to leave her helpless. And then, you know, this beat has to be there because those are the broad beats. Then when I get to the next step, which will be the the zero draft, I will then take this beat and I will actually play with it. I will play out that beat. There'll be dialogue. It won't be long form writing, though. It won't be like, pretty, where it's like she stood up for herself, her muscles pulsing as she squeezed her fists tight, sneer, her eyes burning with frustration towards him. Like, I won't write it like that, but I'll expand it even more in this sort of like bullet point style. So that's what I'm doing. Like every step, it allows me to add more and more and more. I could add a lot here, but my goal isn't to do that. My goal is just to expand the beat that I have enough to where I understand it, where there is, again, a beginning, a middle, and end of the beat. So this I'm actually going to just put here. He has to go with them. And then I'll do this. Because that's important. That's motivation. All right. By the way, I hope that answered your question. All right. Okay. All right. What's the color coding for, i.e. 18? This just lets me know, like, visually, like, what chapter it is. Or plot point, I should say. See, here's blue for this. That's all it is, just an indicator. If I was using characters instead of this, each character would have a color beat associated with them. So we're just so I could see it visually. It's just easier for me to track things when I'm working on it. So you extended the plot points. I slowly but surely continue to extend plot points. Because if we look at the original, this is a little bit more extended-y. But this was the original short form outline. And then now we're just taking this and we're just extending those short form outline plot points into extended outline plot points. And then the zero draft would be taking it to the next level. And then what's after the zero? Then we're going to organize plot points and elements, make sure they're all right. We adjust what I found. We start adding little things, stuff like that. I finished Act 1 of the short outline for an old novel I'm rewriting. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's an accomplishment in itself. Also, it must have been a lot of fun. because the short form outlining is just it's it's just very specific broad strokes. I did a little bit more when I did this example, just so I could show people how to filter in. Because again, what I did with this is I filtered in the characters. So we have all the character arcs and like different plot points, and like this is a very specific, like each color is a specific character arc, like so I kind of played a little bit more with it, but you know, you know, you know. All right, where are we? Oh, okay. Okay, Laura is angry and watches the gang leave her ship. The love interest comes over to her, leaving her with a way to contact him. And then this I could copy and paste because this is just important. Just important information. It's important information. Oh, good, excellent. I'm glad it was helpful. I'm glad it was helpful. And then we're gonna end it like this, where Laura stands in the open doorway of her ship, watching them walk off in the distance, and she can see the city beyond them, and she knows she is going to need to find money for parts, figure out how to get home. Okay. Number 5. All right, that brings us to 6. All right. So real quick, 5 has the beginning. We set up. They are at the planet. They set up the parameters of what needs to happen. Right. So they have to land. We see the process, which is world building. They have to find a port. Port 7 is open. They have low gas. We set it up. Then we have the midpoint conflict, which is they have to land the actual ship, but they have issues and they eventually crash it. And then we have the resolution. What is the response to the crash? She almost gets killed. They leave her with nothing. The gang heads off. And now Laura's like, I got to get stuff for the ship. Well, in the city, getting parts, she could try to talk to authorities, and something happens. She could, yeah, that is an option. I think originally, what do we got here? She's hiding from the authorities because she finds out that they're looking for her and her ship. So she has to get a new job. She gets a job, works in that city for a little bit. We learn that there's some prejudice with aliens because they're all aliens, and we figure out a couple of things. But she yeah, you'll see. But that is a good idea. That's so. By the way, I recommend that if anyone's interested, you feel free to take the plot points we've worked with this and write your own version of the story using the plot points and adjusting things as seen, just as an exercise. If you end up publishing it, just put a little inspired by the right mindset, Thomas G. Bellezza. Because that's the thing. Like everybody looks at stories different. Everyone looks at narrative different. Everyone looks at plot different. So it's all a fun experiment. It's all experiment. All right. Now we're on 6. Or as they say, this. All right. So these are the immediate consequences of the actions taken by the protagonist. All right. By the way, yeah. Okay, she has to get a new job with strings attached, making it hard to do the job and earn money. This is Laura finding a job in a dangerous planet of people no one will hire because she's an alien from her planet name, and these aliens don't trust those aliens from her home world. Urgh. All right, someone does give her a chance, but she can't tell them. I have to add the other thing, which is what I was talking about. I thought it was here already, but maybe it's in another plot point. All right. Laura walks around the city and helpful. Oh, oh, the thing I talked about earlier. All right, Laura walks around the city. She does. There is she does. There are people talking about the ship that crashed. All right, so this is some stuff we're gonna get into. In the distance, authorities of the city saying that the ship was involved in a heist on planet X, named Laura's planet. There. Okay. What we got here? Oh, a new job could be jing animals to their native planet. When they are all on board, her pet opens up the crates and all hell. That would be fun. That would be exciting. That would be very exciting. That's something to think about. Rehoming. I like that all. I like that hell is. Did you do that's did YouTube do that? That's funny. The new job could be rehoming animals to their native planet when they are all on board. Well, she can't use her ship right now because the ship is broken. So it's a damaged ship. Plus, we are seeding the fact that the ship, the authorities, they found the crashed ship, and then the authorities are saying, people are talking, like it's talk around the city. There are people talking about the ship that crashed in the distance. Authorities are saying, right? All of this is going through local information outlets, right? Okay, so there's a lot going on. We got to keep things in mind. For you can't. The ship has to go through the process of being because remember the ship also gets impounded and gets taken away. So this is also seeding how they got the ship, right? Because she couldn't take the ship with her and hide it, because the ship was crashed. All right, so she gets all right. All right. Okay. One other thing I have to write here. Obviously, no one knows what the people looked like who were on the ship or flying the ship. So that's good. That's good. That's something to her advantage. Okay. Laura goes into a shop that fixes ships, asking them how much would it cost to fix XYZ. The person says it'll cost XYZ amount. All right. So what does that do? It sets us up. We understand that there is now a goal. Do you do credits or is it paid in full? All right. They need all that money paid before the ship would be returned to her. All right. Sucker. Okay. I'm already feeling like I'm running into a moment with this beat. Let's go back here. Okay. All right. Okay. Laura asks if she could work there and to work off the cost of the ship damage. They say that they don't hire outsiders, especially your kind. But you'll do the work. Of course, money is money, but I'm not giving you money. You're giving me money. All right. Money has no home planets. Pay me. All right. Okay. Okay. Now, let's see what's gonna happen here. Someone gives her a chance, but she can't tell anyone that she's working for them. Oh, yeah. All right. Laura goes to 2 other places. All of them want nothing to do with her, which leads her to to a third place. What we got here? But she could write them some nice romance. You know, she could. She definitely. She is what do we call an aspiring romance novelist. So let's see if she does it. She might. We don't know, Flowers. We don't know. She might come down to it and be like, I'm gonna write romance. Romancy. All right. Let me put this down here so I can see it. Because I don't like people to go back up. Okay. She has to start a job with strings attached. Or finds a job. Someone goes, okay. Company that agrees to hire, right? But I gotta kind of figure out. It has to be a low key kind of job. It has to be, something that she can do, but is difficult, right? So these are things I have to think about. But I'm not gonna put a lot of time into it right now. Someone gives her a chance, but okay. Let me copy and paste this because these are notes I need just in general. All right. Someone I don't need that as a note. I could just do that. When asked why help her, they say that when it, there's a connection to a family. Oh, a home planet. Someone from her planet was fought in a war with them. And someone from her planet saved his life when they were in a war together. All right. Okay. And then this is the part where I have to figure out what the job is and how she's going to hire someone. But that's not really that important right now. Okay. What do we have? 55? I feel good about that. We do 2 chapters. 2 chapters? I think that's good for today. I will do this, though. Ooh. I'm going to talk about something. Let me talk about something. All right. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Let's talk about something real quick. Wait. Boop. Okay. So, actually, you know what? Let me do this so you have a visual. You want a visual? You want a visual? All right. Let's see. I'm going to give you a visual. I'm going to talk about something very important. I got to find it though. Uno momento, por favor. All right. Is this it? Oh, okay. All right. I want to explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and all these other lovely things. Okay. So first things first, same as the verse. All right. So right now, I already did these 6 plot points. Okay. In the first 3 plot points, my goal is to fulfill section 1's requirements, which is not only setting up Act 1, but it sets up the ordinary world. So I introduced the ordinary world, which in her case was she has a new company where she's a transporter, she has a family, and she's an aspiring romance novelist. Then I disrupt that ordinary world in plot point 2, where a gang shows up, they hijack her ship and force her to leave, and her ship gets all shot up. The reaction to that is that they're trying to fix the ship because it was damaged. So that's the direct reaction. The direct reaction to the inciting incident is the fallout. And the fallout in this situation would be ultimately the ship was damaged. They try to fix it, but then something happens and it gets broke a little bit more. All right. That leads us to section 2. And these plot points are the conflict of Act 1. And there is now a problem that disrupts the protagonist's life, which was the fallout of the inciting incident. So they have to react and reflect on what happened. And in this story, Laura is reacting and reflecting on not only the fact her ship was hijacked and it was damaged, but they need to land. And this is all terrible. And then the gang sort of talks about what they did, but privately, and then they have to take action to solve the inciting incident, right? They have to take action to make right what happened. In this case, the ship was destroyed. She wants to get rid of the hijackers, and the hijackers need to get back on track and drop off their stuff. So they decide to land the ship on the closest planet, and they crash. The immediate consequence of taking that action is not the crash. The crash happens in the action, but the immediate consequence is they leave her, they abandon her to have to deal with the destroyed the broken ship. She has to make money, and ultimately she has to get a job. Okay. So what we have accomplished so far is we set up that world, we showed her in the disruption of the world, and now we got to place her in section 3. And these 3 plot points are basically going to allow her to create the agency to move on to a solution to everything. Because ultimately she has to find a solution, because in her mind, the truth of the lie is that if I just fix the ship, I'll get home. Right. But the reality, which will come up in the midpoint conflict, is there's a lot more going on. And the story changes direction, right? Because we have the reversal after that. See, the reversal after the midpoint conflict. All right. But the protagonist's life changes and pressure. So why does it change? Well, because the consequence led her to getting a job. So plot point 7 is her working the new job and trying to specifically avoid getting caught or noticed. Will build up the authority element. They'll discover that the ship came from planet X and the pilot is so and so, right? So we're going to start establishing a lot of the conflict stuff, right? And by the way, I could even do this, right? um, right. I could just add some notes for myself. Uh, the authorities learn where the ship came from and who owns the ship. All right. Causing more pressure. All right. Because what happens is she's potentially going to get caught. So, she's going to have to make disguises. She's going to have to hide more. This might actually get taken out. This might get taken out because she can't fix the ship. Yeah, because she gets arrested anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right. Take this note out. All right. And the reason is because she's not even near the ship. She's just saving up money for the ship. Okay. So plot point 7 is all going to be about her doing a job, quote unquote, but that isn't really the important part. That's just sort of the background. The important part would be that the life has changed. She's working a crappy job, but she is more importantly realizing that she has to hide from the authorities. Authorities are learning more, and they're connecting her to the crime, etc., etc. So that's important to do. All right, and that's what we're going to end up basically exploring. I think next session we probably will be able to get through these 3 plot points. All right. Okay. Also, real quick, as a fun side note, if you notice, everything's in threes. So there's Act 1 is the setup, Act 2 is the conflict, Act 3 is the resolution. But then if you look at each act, Section 1 is the setup, Section 2 is the conflict, Section 3 is the resolution. The same thing with the second act. Section 4 is the setup because we are introduced to the new world. Section 5 is the conflict. Section 6 is what? It's the resolution to Act 2, which brings them into Act 3. And you have to set up the parameters of Act 3. Then you have to conflict that, which leads to the resolution, right? So, and then if you look at each section, it's 3 plot points each, right? And the ordinary world sets it up. Then we have a conflict. Then we resolve it. Then we set it up. They're reflecting, right? Then we have action, conflict. And then we have a resolution to that conflict. And then again, we set up the pressure. We create a conflict to that pressure. And then the resolution. So what does that do? This 27 plot point outline structure, right? It just creates a natural rhythm, a natural wave, right? And the thing is, this might start off flat like this, right? But this will be the ever growing angle up. And then this would be, right? Maybe it goes, the angle changes. So it's flat, then it's like this, and then it's like this, right? But then this gives us a chance from this to go back to this, right? But we're higher than the first part because, we went up. We went like this, and then like this, and now we're up here. And then it does the same thing, right? You're flat, then you rise a little bit, and then you're like this, and then you get to Act 3. So it continues to kind of like give you moments of pause, give you moments to reflect on things, but it also creates action beats, creates emotional truths for the characters. I'm a little wobbly about the middle. Yeah. All right. Well, of the story. Of the story that we're working on with Laura, or the story of story in general? In general. Um Let's see. Oh, your story. Your story. Oh, okay. 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 All right. Well, I don't know what your story is, but I'll talk through the idea of what a middle is, and maybe that'll help you kind of connect the dots to your story. At the end of Act 1, something very important needs to be established. They cannot go back to the ordinary world. So, plot point 9, push into New World, is because it is the point of no return. They officially cannot return to the world they originally knew in plot point 1. Plot point 10 of Act 2 is setting up that new world. And what does that mean, right? That's an important question. What does the new world mean? If somebody is an accountant, right? And the plot twist is that the person who was supposed to get the promotion ended up quitting, and the next person in line is Roger or Melissa or whoever. And but they were never really looking to get a promotion, but because they are the most qualified, the company gives them the promotion. So plot point 8 would be that the person that was supposed to get the promotion left and quit, leaving the business in turmoil. They start going through whoever would be reasonable. And then they come on. Plot point 9 would be like, oh, Melissa, you'd actually be great for this position. So even though she's an accountant, she just got a promotion to a new job. Her new world would be introducing her and the readers to the new parameters of that position. That would be her position. If this was a romance novel, right? The plot twist might be, or the pinch might be that it turns out that what you call it? So the plot twist here in a romance might be that they finally kiss, right? And then the push would be like, where do we take this? And they're like, let's see where it goes. Let's go on our first date. So now the introduction to the new world in Act 2 would ultimately be them experiencing the new parameters of the relationship. In this case, they're in a relationship. So before they weren't, and now, like, how does this work? How do we approach this? The fun and games is all that the story takes a pause, a lull, a break, and we get to learn a little bit more backstory about characters. This is where they're not necessarily being tossed into situations of danger or trouble, but they are in a situation where they get to talk. And this is literally everywhere in every story. And once you see it, you can see it. I recommend looking at the 27 plot point outlines that I made for both Shawshank Redemption and the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Curse of the Black Pearl. It's if you go to the free folder that's available for anybody, it's under 27 PP outline examples, and you'll see it there. And then you could sort of see it in real time if you watch the movie and read the thing. All juxtaposition is basically they're comparing where they are now to the world they were. They might not necessarily think about it or have thoughts about it, but the situation will be representing that. So let's say the character is not in jail in Act 1, but the plot twist is they get arrested, right? Well, that would be them in jail. So ultimately, they're like, this is where I am, right? That's the basis of those things. Flower, if I were you, I would watch the Pirates of the Caribbean and look at the 27 plot point outline example that I have for them in the folder, and these things will make a lot more sense when you're looking at it. You're basically seeing what's happening. Let me just get oh, hey Hannah. I accidentally clicked outlining. I meant to click Act 1. I have been still outlining my chapters with my 9 characters in 9 chapters, and I'm just doing it in order. That's awesome, though. That's awesome. Yeah, and that's okay. The poll isn't what you would call it, but no one's in trouble if they don't press the right one. I will see if I can find it. I think. Here, wait. There you go. I think that's it directly. But if I can, I'll just sort of kind of like building up to the conflict means that, well, you have to know there's a couple things you need to know for the midpoint conflict to build up to it. First, you have to understand what the truth of the lie is. So whatever a character believes, right? That belief is either absolutely true, but like to a crazy extent, or it's completely false, right? Or it's somewhat true, but not completely true. Okay. And the midpoint conflict is important because that's the moment the character and their beliefs are challenged to the point where they either have to change their position completely, somewhat, or not at all. In fact, if their belief is that the earth is flat, okay, and then there's definitive proof in the midpoint conflict that the earth is actually round, because it is, right? They can double down and be like, no, the earth is flat. All right. And basically, what that does is it creates a negative solution. So they would be spending the immediate reaction, starting their venture on trying to prove that the earth is indeed flat. And then all these points would lead to them, in this case, failing, but they would be searching, right? But in the other way, let's say they're like, the earth is flat, and then they get definitive proof that the earth is round. Now they're shocked by it. They're everything they thought. What else is not real? And that's what plot point 15 ends up becoming. They're in this struggle, this crisis of identity. You know, I had all these beliefs, and are all my beliefs questionable? So now I have to find a solution to that. I have to figure out what is real and what isn't real. And then now that becomes the long-term impacts where they're just like, let me look into other things. So they, right? If I gotta ask my friends, you know, hey, did you know the earth is round? You know, like, what else isn't real? Which means they're gonna have to take action to prove that the other things they believe are real or not real. You know, and then that just becomes you know, and that's actually interesting because it's a conflict of identity. So, but at the end of the day, they still have to have that belief be challenged. That's the most important part, you know. And act 1 is where you set up the truth of the lie. Act 1 is they believe something. Usually for like the hero's journey, you know, they believe that they are the chosen one, and they will be the one that makes the sacrifice, not the sacrifice, but they're the one that brings right to wrong. And then the midpoint conflict is usually wait a minute, the bad person is way more powerful than I thought. I am not as strong as I thought. I was overconfidence. And then the solution is finding confidence in either teamwork, or they have to get a sword, a bloop bloop. Right? Okay. So those are the kind of things that happen. That's clear. Excellent. Yeah. So it's playful. Anyway, it's 1:13. I'm going to give the floor to everyone. Feel free to ask questions either about what we went over today as far as the outline goes, or if you have questions about your own book. I'm here for you. I am here for you. 271. Yeah. 271. All right. Just let me know if you have questions. You know I'm here to answer them. You just let me know what your thoughts are. All right. Oh, yeah. That was great. All sorts of details to add, and Seed going to have a couple of comedy points. Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with a comedy point. I am a huge fan of what we call the comedy points. Yeah, no, I think you know, part of your voice as a writer is, you know, the humor, the way you present that humor, you know, levity, even, And some people get a little nervous with comedy because or humor. They're like, "Oh, we'll take away from the drama or the realism." But let's be honest. There's a lot of humor in life. Even in tragedy. I remember at my both my parents' funerals, there was a lot of laughing. There was crying. There was a lot of laughing, making jokes. That's what we did. That's what we did. That's what we did. I love books where I cry, laugh, and hope. That's what I'm trying for. The full range of emotions is going to definitely be a great experience. And I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when you accomplish that in your book, it'll definitely add some value to it. I think you'll be happy with it for sure. For sure. For shizzle. My nizzle. All right. 574. Any other questions? What we got here? Oh, questions. Hey, that's not a question. Where we go? Oh, how early in the process does the developmental one get involved in a manuscript? Ooh, that's a good question. All right. So the way I would approach it, okay, if I wasn't a developmental editor and I needed a developmental editor, the way I would do it is this. You, as the author, need to at least understand, at minimum, what the narrative could be about. Not that it is about, but could be about. You need to understand some of the character arcs, but you don't have to have them mapped out or in complete detail, but a nice, good paragraph or passage or sentence or whatever the case is. You need to have enough information where a developmental editor can come in and pull the threads. For me, when I work with clients, no matter how much they have, I usually go back to the beginning with them because I need them to talk to me about the story because they are engrossed in it. So, I want them to talk to me, and then I'm going to talk with them through it, and then we're going to map out the 27 plot point outline. We're going to start creating basically what we did with this. So I say as soon as you have enough information to talk about it, but not so much information where you've created an emotional connection to, if you have your third draft written, I think you're way beyond the need for a developmental editor because that's going to be a difficult conversation. Mostly because you did all that work. And for sure, there's going to be some notes. Only because I've been doing this for so long that an unedited, or rather an undeveloped book in its third draft may or may not have some inconsistencies or plot holes, or it might not have character development, it'll have plot development. And you need both, remember, because the narrative is plot and story. Plot is what needs to happen no matter what, and story is how it unfolds through the emotional experiences and choices of your characters. So I guess the short form answer is once you have enough information to discuss the story or the narrative with a developmental editor, hire them. If you're on your first, second, or third draft, you can do it, but I assure you it is going to be a conversation. It's first of all, they have to read the chapters. They have to reverse engineer those chapters. They're going to have to map out the beats within those chapters. There's a lot more work involved. However, if you start off at the foundation, then they can help you skeleton it, mold it, and then connect the dots, do the seeding, the foreshadowing, create character agency, develop the cause and effect of your narrative. So early on. Not early on enough where it's like, hey, I have this idea for this guy and he turns into a dog and he learns about love in his life and what that's not enough. I mean, I guess it could be. I guess they could work through it and develop the story with you, but that's not really. That's just a loose idea. It'd be great if there's aliens, and the aliens were from another planet, I think that would be an amazing story. I'm sure everyone in this stream has had people come up to me and go, I have a great idea for a story. You're a writer. There's like aliens from an alien planet and they come here and people are scared of them because they're aliens. Isn't that a great idea for a story? And you're like, no, that's a lot of no. It's not enough information for it to be a story. Oh, what do we got here? After doing the extended outline and perhaps a written couple chapters, that's fine. That's fine. As long as definitely the extended outline is a great place to start, but it will be reverse engineered. The couple chapters are good to help look at what your writer's voice is. But remember, a developmental editor's job is not necessarily come in and directly help you with your prose. That would be like line editors and stuff. They're there to make sure the foundation, the skeleton, the plots, and the characters all connect and make sense. It's really what they. However, I do sit with people and I help them try to find their voice. I have worked on prose. I show them logical narrative movement. I show them the 3 rules, which is a video we went over yesterday. The 3 things, one or more of these 3 things must be in every single line, right? Like, so there are things like that. Mars does need moms. I'm just saying, men are from Venus. What is it? Women are from Venus. Men are from Mars. Yeah. Mars definitely needs the mommies. As they say in Italiano, the Maz. Where's the Maz? The Belladonnas. Oh, look at that. We got another vote. Anyway, for anyone, I got a couple more minutes. So if anyone has any questions about writing, please, the floor is yours. You have the advantage of taking advantage, consensually of my brain as a developmental editor and writer. So feel free. My eyes. Ugh. See the mark on my nose? I got this device I'm wearing for helping me breathe a little bit, and it just hurts the nose. Oh my God, it's 3:30 almost? Wow. Oh yeah. 3:30. Ooh, 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 ooh. All right. Take time with a wounded hand, 'cause it likes the. Got any more Kiss songs? All right, what we got? Ooh, oh, Beth. That's a great song. I used to love that song. Beth, I hear you calling, but I can't come home right now. Me and the boys are playing, and we just can't find the sound. Just a few more hours, and I'll be right home to you. I think I hear them calling. Oh, Beth, what can I do? Dun, dun, dun. Beth, what can I do? Something like that. I might be wrong. I might be wrong with that. You say you feel so empty, that a house just ain't a home, that I'm always somewhere else, and you're always there alone. Just a few more. I don't know the lyrics. I'm just playing around. Anyway, that's those aren't writing questions, but I do love singing. So I'm sure people are abandoning the stream and like, whoa, this guy can't sing. Oh, by the way, I wore the shirt for you, Flowers. I wore you get a die shirt. This is what I wear when I'm writing, because I just want my characters to look at my shirt, because I have no problem killing off characters in my epic fantasy, especially characters. I'll be honest. I don't like killing the characters that I love, but at the same time, I don't mind if the narrative needs them to die. You notice? Then die character. And I guess I don't naturally wear my merchandise, but I do when I have to. I even have my cup right here. The my character's meant to do it. You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun with writing, or what's the point? You know, it really. We could go crazy if we don't. Oh, look at that. All right, so it says here a lot of people have trouble with the easiest part is Act 1, Act 2 and 3 are the difficult things. Interesting. What are some things I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments? What are some things you have trouble with Act 2 or Act 3 that makes it difficult for you, whereas Act 1 is the easiest? I would love to hear your thoughts on this, and then I maybe could address those things. I could address those things. I feel uptight on a Saturday night. 9 o'clock, the radio's the only light. I hear my song and it pulls me through. Comes on strong to what we got? Keeping the pacing in Act 2. I usually know how I want 3 to end. Well, remember, when we use the word pacing, pace is the speed at which information is presented to the audience, or the reader in this case. If you follow the 27 plot point outline and use the 9 plot points within Act 2, you'll notice it creates a natural pace of information that needs to be exposed. So there are moments where it's action-based, so it speeds up, right? We have to get the information out quicker. There's slowing down, so we can take on the emotional truth of the characters, and we start understanding the characters a little bit more. And then, of course, there are moments where they are reacting to the stuff that has happened, and that could be sort of like in the middle, and that'll help you just naturally create a movement of pace, because you don't want like 4 chapters in a row to feel fast, and you don't want 4 chapters in a row to feel slow. But also remember, short chapters pull readers through, long chapters slow readers up, right? But that isn't a bad thing. It just depends on what you're doing. But you can get exhausted by reading 4 chapters in a row that are really long, or 4 chapters long that are short. It's just something to think about when you're dealing with the information in the acts. Something I like to do, though, is character-driven chapters. I try to slow it down because I want to breathe through their emotional experiences. When I'm working on faster-paced chapters, a shorter chapter, or even a fighting chapter, like a battle, I want to allow pace to move up and down in that too. So it's a quicker pace when we're moving through the action, but then when I want the characters to experience what has happened, is happening, or whatever the case may be, will happen, I'll slow it down within the chapter and breathe through their emotional experience and choices. But the action you want to keep like boop, boop, boop. Whatever. I will let you know once I'm there. As I guess I'm assuming that has to do with the either questions on Act 2 and Act 3, or on the developmental editing aspect. Look, I'm always around, you just let me know. Because everyone's gonna move their feet. Get down. Everybody's gonna leave the seat. Because you gotta rock in what is it? You gotta lose your mind in Detroit Rock City. Anyway. All right, I just scared someone away with that. All right. It is an hour and a half. I'll give one more question. I will answer one more question, and then I will call it a day. I will call it a day. Who wants to call it a day with me? Also, I can't believe Gene Hackman passed away, and his wife, and his dog. Crazy, man. Embrace every day. Call the people up, message them, tell them you love them. You never know, right? I think that's the most powerful thing about being a creative, like a writer, a filmmaker, anything, is that like you're leaving behind a part of your soul forever. And it's just a nice touch on the world. It's sort of like these characters are more than just stories and narrative. They're these experiences, and it's just a nice way to remind people that, yeah, it's something to say, maybe. I don't know. I know they've been gone a while. Yeah, they not to get a little grave, but they did mummify or something like that. It was ridiculous. I think he had a heart attack. Wife rushed to get meds. Something happened. Puppy passed from dehydration. Oh yeah. His pacemaker went off. He was found near the front door with it open, and then she went to get the pills in the bathroom, and I think she slipped. And hit her head. And then the dog was just running around trying to survive with no adults. That's just so great. I think the hardest part about that whole thing is that he's Gene Hackman, and he had this amazing life, and he knew all these people, and he really touched so many people in the world. And then where was his kids? Where was his friends? No one checked on him. It's like, oh my God. It's the only reason I want to be in a relationship. I don't want to die. And then like they find me 20 years later. There's this episode of The Rookie. It's a pretty good show, but Nathan Fillion. There was this old lady, and all her bills were paid automatically, and she got, Social Security, everything. So everything was automated, and she had been dead for so long. She was just basically almost a skeleton, and they found her like on the couch. That's just exactly. Like the idea of just, I don't know. But then you have the reverse of it. What if the person you love goes for, and then you have to be like, oh. I know when I lost my dog, that was hard because I lost my mom to the brain cancer, and then 6-7 months later, I lost my dad to COVID, and then I lost my dog maybe like not even 8 months later, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. That was some hard stuff. That'll be me. Aw. You know what? We'll just become roommates. We'll get a huge house with like apartments in the house, and we'll just check on each other. We'll just check on. No trauma. Might have had a heart attack or stroke. Oh no, hey, okay. She might have had a heart or stroke. No one is saying how it was found. No one looking because of. Yeah, I gotta look into that. It's just yeah. COVID does. Yeah, whew. It's a big deal. With me, laptop on my knee, with the cat sitting beside me, wondering where her dreamies are. Aww. Hello? Dum, dum, dum. Are you alive today? Yeah, I'm eating my pizza. Okay, I'll check on you tomorrow. Too funny. You guys made me laugh today. That made me happy. Thank you for the good times we roll. Ooh. I don't know. The world is an amazing place, but it's also scary. I have to say that. But I'm glad I have people out there like yourselves adding to the world, writing, creating, being ever lively. I'm going to the hospital unit I work on in a straitjacket, and I'm taking coworkers with me. Sometimes you have to. Oh, dementia ward. Oh, neurology. Yeah. The dementia. That's probably my biggest nightmare right there. That right there. Actually, no. When I was younger, I don't know what caused it, but I have a massive fear that if I have a child, the child's going to be a serial killer. I don't know why, and is going to kill me, right? And then I saw this movie with Kevin Costner. I think it's called Mr. Brooks. Yeah, Mr. Brooks. And literally, he has the same dream I have, where his kid not only spoiler become a serial killer, but in his dream the kid, and I'm like, oh my god, that's my nightmare right there. But my second is getting dementia or Alzheimer's. I wouldn't know what to do because my brain is like the only thing I feel I have a value. Like I, I don't, whatever, doesn't matter. Oh, gastro and urine. Oh, that's was that a stinky job? Was that, did you find a lot? Probably dealt with a lot of asses there, metaphorically and forically, I guess. And a gazillion nurses. Yeah. Oh, all right, Flowers. Okay. Here's a question for the audience. Is it very? Here's a question for the audience. How many writers out there in the chat work in the medical field or have worked in the medical field? I want to see this. This would be. I feel like because a lot of my friends who are writers are also in the medical field, and I want to know if that's a common thing. We have Flowers, yeah, Flowers. I know Cindy, obviously, but that's so interesting. I wonder why that is. The collab group has a really see, isn't that like? I thought it was just me. That's an interesting statistic. I would like to almost see the numbers on that. Is it because is the time available there? I don't know. That's a funny pun. I think the vampires bring out the worst in us. I mean, yeah, especially if you're working the night shifts, like overnights, you feel like the undead, everything sucks. Wow, yeah. Where do you get the time to write though? Because don't nurses like work ridiculous hours, or am I naively speaking about that? I don't know. Ghosts who pull at clothes. Oh, that's up there with the scary. That's, you don't want that to happen. You're just sitting there and all of a sudden like, what the hell? Interesting blood retrieval methods. Yes. Take a bite out of the patient, get the blood. Very not time for writing, even your documentations. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like how I'm going to breaks, nights, days off when I'm not real. Okay. So there is room for writing, but it's. That happened other day to coworker. Ooh. All right. Okay. I knew I would never be able to do anything in the entertainment industry if like I had to work. So I just spent a lot of time just saving up money, like working 3 jobs. I saved up a ton of cash, and I just quit everything and I just focused on getting involved in the industry because I was like, I have no time to do anything. Some stories have slipped into my writing, though. Hey, listen. If you meet a vampire while being a nurse, of course you need to put that in a book. Is all I'm saying. All right? And I want to know the details about these vampires because I want a vampire to bite me because I want to be immortal. I'm tired of being tired. I don't mind if I have to eat a person once in a while. Call me Arm & Hammer. Looking forward to retiring and doing writing as a 4th job. I'll tell you right now, as a semi-retired person, it is a good feeling. It's so good. A patient set his particulars. Every bit of that was true. I guess that's like herpes, huh? I retired early. So grateful. Isn't it? Because like I know you're across the pond, but in the States, like it's like 65 or something like that. And then like if you stay till 70, you get more money on your Social Security. And it's like by then you don't have a retirement. You basically you're no use to us at the job. So we want you to choose to get out of the workforce, but you don't get to live. Like it's hard. I'm 47 come April, and I'm already in pain and tired. Imagine I was 65. I wouldn't even know. It's amazing what dementia patients figure out, like escaping from locked wards. I wonder why that. Probably because they're in. And again, I don't know much about the situation with dementia, but it might be like the fact of paranoia or obviously the confusion, and they're just like in fight or flight mode, and they're like, let's get out of here, 3 fire engines and 3 wow, that's a lot. That is a lot. At 6 a.m. when the ward was mental anyway. I get it. Wait till you're 62. Woo! That's not that old though, right? That's not too bad. 62. What is that? There you get 20 more years, 30 more years, 100 more years. What do you get? 1,000 more years? If you get bit by a vampire, flowers, help us out with that. You can live forever, Just saying. Homeless trying to light the cigarettes in the mic. No, I'm not laughing at the homeless part. I'm laughing at the cigarettes in the microwave part. That's so funny. How would you even do that? High alcohol drinking, the hand rub at the bottom of the bed. Maybe I should be in a nursing home. They had to discontinue that on EAU because of that. I imagine. I'm still thinking about the cigarettes in the microwave. They're just holding the cigarette up to the glass while it's on. Why isn't it lighting? Why isn't my cigarette on? Anyway, what is it? What we got here? One patient got out, found him, by the way, between 4th and 5th floor, wheelchair on a wheelchair, and a mark on him, and he was laughing. Hey, I mean, I'd be laughing too if I magically escaped like that in a wheelchair of all things. It'd be even funnier if he ended up escaping through the fire escape outside the window. The stories we have, man. Yeah, look, you can't make this stuff up, right? People are gonna read it and be like, "There's no way this happened." And you're like, "No, they lit their particulars." And pole vaulting old ladies who are around 4'6", so they hide in men's bed. What? What are they doing hiding in the? Oh, we should get together and write these stories. I mean, that it would be a seller. What would it be called though? Men, the wardens of the ward, stories from the untold, right? Stories. Maybe just call it lighting cigarettes with a microwave. That'll get enough attention. Lighting cigarettes with a microwave. Oh, okay. Tales from the ward of the undead. That's funny. That's crazy stuff. I lost a resident, and the guy was shouting from his room. This is gonna go mad with her in here. Pops, Pops Margaret. Hey! I found my dentures. I found my dentures. All right. Okay. Fun fact. Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, Patrick Schwarzenegger, auditioned to play Superman in James Gunn's reboot. I just want to put that in. We were how can you not be howling at that? That's just amazing. First of all, the elder having fun like that and just enjoying life, and it's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, at my age, though, I get exhausted just thinking about standing up. Imagine I had to flirt with people and go on dates. My back hurts thinking about it. Can be dangerous when they a man choked a student. Oh wow! Oh my god! Wow, that's terrible. That's terrible. Yeah, but it's the dementia throws. All right. Oh my god, that's crazy. but they don't really have control over their behavior, right? I mean, they kind of do, but like, aren't they dealing with? By the way, if anyone wants to get into the conversation, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you have crazy stories of mental warts? Anyway, I'm so old. I know what a CD player is, but I also know what an 8-track is. So not only that, but I owned the Black Sabbath Orange 8-track. I just want to put that out there and just feel self-pity for myself. That's okay. All right. We've kind of taken it over. It's all right. I don't mind. I'm off to bed. Angel Fi, thank you so much. Have a nice night. We're actually gonna call it a day. We're almost an hour 50. I know what a cassette tape is. Yeah. It's one of those things you put into a cassette player. I get. One lady's husband named Peter kept saying, "Call Peter. He knows what to do with." Why? Why does he know what to do with the cat? All right. With that, we're gonna call it a day. I do have to get some food in me. That's right. That's how you fix it. You gotta get one of those pencils. I know how it is. Meow meow. All right. With that, please, I don't even know what that's so funny. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. If you haven't, next video, we're going to continue the series as is. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, the bell icon, so you don't miss out. Like, comment, and share the video. Much love to all the appreciation to everyone who's been supporting this channel, these videos, and keep coming back in every week and allowing me to humbly teach you and educate you on what I know, where I know it from, and of course, remember everything I talk about. I implore you to do your research to have a better understanding, because knowledge is knowing, but wisdom is understanding through research, right? And everything I talk about is only one perspective on the writing process. No one is wrong or right. Whatever works for you as a writer, take time for that. But with that said, much love to everybody. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. This is The Right Mindset. And as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.